Welcome to Becoming Spiritual, a podcast about the magic that surrounds us and has always been a part of us. I'm your host, Heather Dolan, a passionate seeker dedicated to bringing together beautiful humans who are doing amazing things in this world. Together, we will explore healing modalities and practical spiritual practices that can enrich your everyday life. We will also hear stories of awakenings, many from people in the corporate world who have broken out of the spiritual closet. Wherever you are in your journey, know you have found a community of open-hearted individuals committed to making themselves and our world a better place. Welcome home. Welcome back to Becoming Spiritual. On today's episode, Natalie and I sit down for a fun chat on self-care. So it's the time of year, at least where I am in the Northern Hemisphere, where we have Thanksgiving coming up and rolling right into all of the other holidays that come in December, Christmas, Hanukkah, Diwali, you name it, there's a lot going on. And also then throw in year-end, New Year's, it's a lot. And so we thought it would be fun to sit down and just share a list of some self-care practices that we do. And what I love about the episode is while I kind of had this running list and thought of things from my perspective, Natalie of course, chimed in with some really beautiful perspectives of how to take one practice in the way I do it and do it in a different way. And so I feel like we have a really kind of 360 view of these practices where it's not just a one size fits all. It's here's some ideas for you. We hope it helps recharge you. Maybe it gives you some permission to take some rest this time of year, whatever it is. Our goal was really just to provide some ideas and hopefully some inspiration for you to get whatever it is you need for yourself during this time of year. And maybe you're even listening to this not in the throes of a holiday season. It can still apply for any time because a lot of these practices are things that Natalie and I both do daily or weekly, or maybe it's a monthly thing. And so while some might feel really aspirational, that's okay. Neither one of us do them all and do them all the time, but they're meant to be really fun and hopefully, again, inspiring. And we just hope that you feel the love that we put into this episode to share these things with you. So enjoy the episode and let us know if you have some fun self-care practices that you want to share with us. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening. Hello, and welcome back to Becoming Spiritual. So today, Natalie and I are here to share some self-care tips and ideas as we get ready to jump into the busy holiday season, year-end. We know it can bring lots of opportunities to be anxious and be stressed and feel really short. And so we wanted to just share a couple things that we thought might be fun. We would love to hear from you if you have any ideas or ways that you care for yourself. This is just a starting point. So, Natalie, let's jump in. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's a pretty good list. So let's get into it.
Okay. So first, I put it at the top of the list because I think it's really important is water, clean water, but I specifically put solar water or moon water or crystal water. So we have talked about these things in previous episodes, but if you don't know what solar water is, it's literally just putting your water into a bottle and putting it outside in the sun or in a window. You can put it in a window. Just put it in glass. And if you live in a place where it's cold, be careful if you put it outside because I have had beautiful bottles break, especially if you put them on the ground, because I like to put my solar water outside on the ground. I also put it outside if there's like a full moon. So I'll do that and do moon water. But if you are going to put water out, just make sure from a temperature perspective that the bottle won't break. But you can just leave it out there for an hour or two. I tend to leave it out because a lot of times I forget about it much longer than that. But just leave it out, let it collect the rays from the sun. If you can put it on the earth, it will also ground the water. You will taste a difference. I don't know, Natalie, if you do a lot with solar water, but I can really taste a difference in the water when I put it outside.
Yeah. I'm someone, and maybe there's other listeners who can relate to me, but I'm someone who forgets to drink water throughout the day. And so this is a really good reminder, Heather, that it's important to prioritize making sure you're hydrated. And for that reason, I'm bad with this ritual, even though I think it's an excellent one. It's really good. If you've got a morning practice where you like to go outside in the sun, it's a great reminder, like especially during holiday times when things are so busy, to kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? So pop your glass down, get some sunlight into it, and then have your drink and have that mindfulness moment. And that's a really powerful practice. But yeah, I love doing solar water, but I'm bad at remembering. So thanks, Heather, for reminding us.
You're welcome. And get a big bottle if you can, because then it will also, like Natalie's saying, force you to drink a lot of water. So if you can get one that holds like 30, 40, I think mine holds like at least probably 40 ounces of water, then it's like, okay, I know I can drink this. I will drink that in like an hour. But for the average person, that'll probably be like the day. So sip on it throughout the day, but you'll know, okay, I at least got a good amount of water in my body. And crystal water can be, you can just put crystals around like the outside. If you have favorite crystals, it'll just absorb the energy of the crystals. So you can just put your water out and put crystals around them. You have to be careful because certain crystals you cannot get wet. So you don't want to just dump crystals into the water. But there are also bottles, which I'll show mine. It's called Vita Jewel, which I think we've talked about, but it has a glass container and there's different crystals that go in the bottle and they're encased in glass. And then it's getting the vibration of the crystals. And I love it so much. I also have a decanter that sits on my counter that I fill up with water every day. So you can get the vibration from all these beautiful crystals and get it into your body, and just hopefully it will help heal and nourish you and hopefully help with lots of things from anxiety and stress and whatnot. So water, super important, especially with all the energies coming in right now. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And then the second one kind of goes along a little bit with the first one, which is grounding. The good thing about most of these things is they don't cost anything. So maybe you have to buy a bottle or something for solar water. But for the most part, the goal is you don't have to buy anything. It's not expensive. And grounding is literally you grounding into the earth. So take your shoes off, go outside, stand on the earth for a couple of minutes, and you will literally feel your nervous system just like reset. It's like taking a big breath and just having Mother Earth help you calm down. So certainly if you're feeling triggered, you've got family over, or maybe there's some drama, whatever it might be, go outside if you can and just take your shoes off and stand on the earth for a couple of minutes. And I promise it will help you. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's summer. So you can do that, or it's going to be summer soon, right? So it's warm. In winter, I get it's cold here and it can feel painful, but I promise it's worth it.
Yeah, if for any reason you have trouble getting outside, you can kind of feel like there's no way to ground, but that's not true. Sometimes we can just take our shoes off and we feel better because our shoes can be blocking the flow of the energy. But something like an Epsom salt bath, foot bath, can be a really powerful way to ground if for whatever reason you can't get outside. So I always like to have a little backup plan because sometimes we can feel a bit guilty if we can't do it like the right way, but there's always hacks.
Oh, I love that. And the salt will cleanse too. So it's like you're getting like a 2-for-1 if you do a foot bath or something like that. And to be honest, you could also just visualize yourself grounding. So outside of actually physically, say you are stuck in an office and you're going to lose your mind and you're like, I can't get outside, or maybe you're in a skyscraper and you can't get out and take your shoes off on a busy New York City street. I totally get it. You could just sit down, take some deep breaths, and just imagine yourself with either people describe tree roots or some kind of line coming down out of your root chakra. So like basically sitting on the earth, you can picture yourself sitting on the grass or the earth, use your imagination, see yourself sitting and just see something growing right from where you're sitting, from your tailbone, going down into the earth and grounding through the soil and rocks and beds of crystals, and just see yourself connecting into the earth. And that will ground you as well. It's amazing what our imagination can do for us, and use that if you need to. So that's such a beautiful point. And that's why we're doing this together, because I didn't think of that. So I love it. And also foot bath, but you can also take a regular bath, which actually surprisingly is not on my list. And I try to do as often as I can. And I'm trying to have a regular, at least once a week bath, which you can put salt in. You can add like some oils or flowers, or dried flowers will make a mess. So just know you've got to strain them out. So it kind of takes away from some of the relaxation. It will leave a mess in your bathtub if you don't, or clog your drain. But taking a bath is a beautiful way too, obviously, to relax. And I think most people, in all the tropes will say, well, taking a bath is self-care, and what other ways we can do things outside of that. But I do think taking a bath can be really healing. And I love to meditate in the bathtub. I actually have to set a timer because I usually fall asleep. But it's so relaxing. And please, if you have like a really big bathtub, maybe don't do this. I don't have a big bathtub, so there's no chance of me like drowning myself. So just public service announcement, like please don't do this if you have a ginormous bathtub. But again, you can do a meditation in the bath. You're getting a 2-for-1. So I love it.
Yeah. It's really nice to work with the elements too. So when we're talking about grounding, sometimes we absolutely want that grounding into the earth and we need to feel more rooted and more strong and more resilient like a tree. But sometimes we need different things. So if you feel like you need to get back into the flow, then, working with water in that way is really helpful. Sometimes grounding for me is going outside and letting the wind blow off all of my cobwebs, all of my struggles. If I'm feeling overwhelmed in the head, having some air come at me is a really good way to work with the element to like remove some of that energetic gunk. So, and fire as well. Sometimes we need to burn some stuff up. So whether that's some incense or even just soaking up the energy of the sun to activate, there's lots of things you can do to kind of re-energize or relax and let go when you work with the elements.
Those are all perfect. And I think the biggest thing is if you're going to do something like that, going outside, be really present. Don't take your phone. Don't turn on a music, even if it's a frequency or something. Just go outside, be really present with no device, even if it's only for 2 or 3 minutes, because chances are then it'll feel so good and you'll want to stay out there for another 2 or 3 minutes. But I think that's really important, is to just have that space for your mind to just relax and reset and kind of recalibrate and take in whatever element you're choosing, whether that's, air or the sun or the ground, water. Definitely give yourself that time and give yourself the space to really reset if you're going to do it.
Yep.
So awesome. Okay, the next one is a gratitude practice. So I've been talking about this a lot. I myself last year sent out gratitude journals to all my customers with a note about a gratitude practice, because for me, I've been doing this for a couple of years and it's really changed my life. I can honestly say that. And if you look up data, I just ran a meeting with a bunch of executives and we talked about a gratitude practice and everyone shared, and it was beautiful. Most of us shed a tear or two and really appreciated the level of connection we could get to just by expressing gratitude. And so there's so much science and data, not going into that at some point, probably can do a whole episode on gratitude, but having some kind of practice, it doesn't have to be a formal practice, but I like the ritual of starting my day with a gratitude practice. A lot of people like ending their day with a gratitude practice as they can kind of reflect on their day. Some people do both, but I love it. It grounds me in gratitude for the day. I start from this place of feeling whole already and not feeling like I'm chasing things down to find something. I just feel already filled up. And it can be something from the day before. It could just be having a good night's sleep I could be grateful for. But usually I'm reflecting on the day before and sharing. And sometimes I'm so excited, I'll do my gratitude practice at the end of the day and then wake up in the morning and do another one. Because there's just so much. And it does change the way you see the world. And it changes it literally creates new neural pathways in your brain when you're connecting to gratitude. So I highly encourage people to look up the science, and maybe that's something, Natalie, we make a note to do a gratitude episode, because there's so much I could say about it, but it is life-changing. And even if you just try to adopt it for the holidays or this time of year and find ways to be grateful and have gratitude, I promise it will really pay dividends.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be really challenging to find either the time or sometimes the motivation to do that when we're like really overwhelmed. A lot of the time we're wearing lots of hats at this time of year. We've got lots of things on our list to do, and we can find ourselves having a bit less patience than normal. A very simple, in the moment, present gratitude practice that I try to use when things are feeling that way for me and I'm struggling with the patience and motivation to feel grateful is to recognize that there are things in my life that I have that other people wish they had. And so sometimes we can be like searching for things to be grateful for and they're kind of feeling elusive. But I think we can always recognize that we're super fortunate, even when we're annoyed, frustrated, overwhelmed, and that there's other people that wish they had our problems. So I just wanted to add that in as well.
Such perspective. And even thinking, people who struggle to have a child, even if your child's driving you crazy and you feel like
Yeah.
they're spoiled or being bratty or not listening or whatever it is, know that there are people that would change places with you in a second to have that child.
Yeah.
And so not that any of us wish our children away, but sometimes it can be hard to have that perspective. And I promise if you do, it will change how you see your child maybe in that moment. Maybe it'll help you kind of regroup. So important. And you don't have to have a journal. You don't have to have a formal practice. Sometimes when I travel, I don't have time to write it down or it's super early in the morning and dark and I'm not going to turn on a light. So I will just open the notes app in my phone and just type it in. I do find the tactile part of putting it down in words, that intention into the universe, I feel is important. But also there are moments where, for instance, if I'm on the train and I didn't get to do it and maybe I just don't want to be on my phone, that I'll just close my eyes and take a minute and just list a couple of things. And it could be like, I got to the train on time. Someone held the door open for me. I had a nice cup of tea today. I mean, literally such small things. I saw a fox running across my yard, just really small things. And you start to notice things and feel grateful for, now I could list out 100 things by breakfast just because I'm used to noticing things, the small things. And I think that's what matters. So
yeah, that's where the magic is for sure.
Yeah. Go out in nature. So we kind of talked a little bit about that with grounding, but if you can get out in nature, so healing, so soothing. Going to sit by a tree, touching a tree for sure is helpful. Listening to nature, as I was just talking to someone recently, nature can be really noisy if we're paying attention. We think it's quiet and soothing, but when you actually sit there undistracted, you don't have a podcast on, you're not on the phone, you're not listening to music or something. There's so much around us. And just listening to that nature can be incredibly healing and soothing and just calm your nerves. But certainly if you can go out for a walk in nature, in the woods, or just in a place that maybe is a little bit quiet, or just maybe it's just going for a walk and you can't be in nature because you're in a city, that's okay. But it can be really healing and just, again, so much data on that. And it can really help you in times that feel really stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much color and sound, like you said. I think that's even sometimes a practice that our therapists or psychologists will tell us to do when we're like in anxious moments and needing to ground, is to be present in all that's around you, like noticing the colors, the sounds, the shapes, all of those things. And sometimes it's really great to get us out of our heads and just into the natural world that doesn't have these 3D problems.
Yep.
I find that birds are great teachers in that respect too, because they fly higher than us. They live in the air a lot of the time. So they have a higher perspective than we do, and they're closer to the angelic realm as well. And when you watch birds or when you hear their song, you are kind of elevated a little bit, and they show you they don't worry about the stuff that we worry about, and it doesn't affect them. So we can kind of like tune into the energy of the birds and fly higher, fly above our problems or what might be troubling us. It's really good medicine.
Yeah, it is. And also going into the sea. I know you love to go into the ocean and have that, you get the cleansing with the salt. So being in the water, again, you're in nature, being in the water, in the ocean. If you're able to do that in the area of the country or world that you're listening to this, for sure, any type of water, whether that's bath or, an ocean or lake or whatever, connecting to nature that way is really powerful. I know that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I get the chance. And even if it's not super hot, you get a different experience. You can get a little bit of a shock to the body and it like wakes you up a bit, or you can just get a nice soothing cool down, whatever it is you need.
Yep. I am not polar plunging here. So that's not my jam. I know people say, I don't know, like the cold plunging, not my thing, but I know lots of people do it. So if that's your jam, great.
Go for it.
Go for it. Let's see, breath work or just breathing. So you don't have to have a really intricate practice. Some people like box breathing, which simply means you usually, if you picture a box, doing like 4 counts, breathing in, holding for 4, then exhaling for 4, then holding for 4 again, and kind of picture it like a box, like a square. But some people just do, in for 3, hold, and then exhale for 3, and then do it again. So you can figure out what works for you. There are different apps that you can breathe with. I know when my daughter had some therapy for anxiety, there's belly bio app, I think, where you can put the device or a phone on your belly and breathe in, and it counts, and it's trying to get you to breathe into your belly versus taking shallow breaths into your chest. So for kids, I think it just helps them focus to get that breath down to their belly. But we want to work on like expanding our belly and have the breath go there so it's not shallow and just taking kind of short breaths into our chest. So I don't love the idea of putting, the phone on a belly regularly, but I think for kids sometimes it can be really helpful to get them, like I said, to focus on breathing into their belly. But really powerful just resetting with our breath, or just sitting here and closing our eyes and just paying attention to our breath and trying to calm our thoughts. Doesn't mean that your head has to empty, but just taking that breath, it can just reset everything for you.
I find myself as one of those people, like with the water, am I breathing? Sometimes I have to ask myself that. And I'll be present with myself and I can feel how shallow I'm breathing. And just to take that moment to breathe more deeply, it's very, very powerful. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that experiences that sometimes.
Yeah. And then one other thing I'll take as a step further, because I think sometimes people around us need help with that. And so I found it can be a really powerful way, especially with my children. I had this situation recently with Sophie where she was having a pretty big meltdown. She was trying to finish homework. It was really late at night and she was just in a panic. She was in like an anxious spiral, just feeling completely overwhelmed. And I saw it. And my initial thought, she just wanted me to leave her room so she could finish her homework. And it was late. And I started to, and it was like, no, wait, she needs you. And this is a moment. And I turned back and I said, we're going to breathe. And she was like, no, I just want to finish this. I'm tired, and I took the computer, I set it aside, I grabbed her and I said, breathe with me. And she fought me for a second. And I just started modeling the breath and breathing in. We were just taking a big breath in and I was counting. I was saying breathe and taking it in. And then we were blowing out. And she was pretty upset. And so I hugged her and I could feel myself. I was kind of like, therapists will call it co-regulating. You start co-regulating your breath together, but just breathing. Probably by breath 5, I felt her release and she like sunk into me and I could just feel everything pour out. And it just was these simple 5 breaths. And I told her sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. And so in whatever scenario that might be, maybe, if you do see someone freaking out, you could just suggest breathing for a minute because it's so impactful. And maybe if you feel comfortable even breathing with them, just sitting there looking at them or sitting next to them and just taking some breaths and counting and you kind of modeling it for them, it can really just have such a profound effect on your mental state. And it's free. And I always tell my kids, your breath, it's always with you. So you never need anything and no one even has to know you're doing it.
So true.
So it's so powerful. Journal or writing, I think it's a really beautiful time, whether it's gratitude or trying to express something. Sometimes it's just getting frustrations out on paper. If you're feeling frustrated, again, kind of that tactile writing can feel really good. Some people like to put things in their notes app or something on their phone or computer. I like, again, that tactile responsive writing. So I prefer actually writing in a notebook, and I love to find fun notebooks and have gotten some for gifts. So I think journaling can be really powerful, even if you can have a topic, you can not have a topic and just want to write for a couple minutes. So this is one I said, bless your food, because thinking about self-care, just like our water, and actually you can bless your water too. I should have added that to the water piece. We are so powerful and our intention is everything. And so when we sit down to eat food, just taking a moment before you start eating to, whether it's close your eyes or just around the table, bless your food, be thankful for your food. You can go one step further. I try to ask that this food nourish my body, and anything that I might eat that is not going to serve or nourish my body, to allow it to just move through my body with ease and not kind of take it in. So that way, if I'm, maybe eating some stuff, which we all do this time of year, that's not that healthy, it feels like it's kind of almost like changing my intention with the food to something that is positive. So it's not an excuse to say, go eat junk and bless it and you're fine. But, we're all going to find ourselves in those situations where maybe we're eating some food that we might not normally. So I think just the intention of blessing your food, blessing your water, seeing it. And there's a lot of science around how you can change the structure of water with your intention and your thoughts. So just asking that light be, if maybe you didn't put out your water, but you were feeling like you need really good water, maybe you just stand there and hold it in a glass, put your hands around the glass and just see light being infused into your water and ask that the water bless your body and help your cells heal, or whatever the intention is, help you relax, change your water to something that you need for yourself. And you can do the same with your food.
And I think just being mindful with what we're eating as well is really important, because it can be a time when things are so out of balance. So I know for me, and I think it's pretty common, because by the time we hit 1st of January, we're all making these resolutions to fix all the damage we've done for the past month in regards to all of the junk food we've eaten and all the rest. But I think, as much as you can, be mindful about what we're putting in our bodies. But when it comes time to kind of the indulgent part of the holidays, let go of the guilt and enjoy it, and allow that indulgence to kind of nourish you in a different way. Often that's sharing food with family and people we love. And that, I think, is also nourishing in its own way.
Again, this is why we're doing this, because you bring such beautiful perspective to this.
And
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. We beat ourselves up a lot. We don't
Yeah.
need anyone else to do it. We do a great job doing it ourselves. So don't shame yourself. If you're going to eat the apple pie and the whatever else, I will probably eat 3 desserts. We're recording this the day before Thanksgiving here. Let's be honest. I'm going to eat some junk and then probably feel really crappy. It's okay. I accept that, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And then the next day I'll say, okay, maybe I have one more treat for a leftover today, and then try to, maybe not have as much sugar or whatever it might be. So yeah, I think that's really important. If you're going to do it, enjoy it. Don't shame yourself. That's not helpful. Just enjoy it, love it, savor it, and then, try to make better choices the next day, or healthier choices to balance out the other stuff. But it is a time you're with people enjoying the food or desserts or whatever that is. You're allowed to. That's our human experience here. So
yeah, totally.
Meditation. So we have a whole episode on meditation, so you can listen to all the benefits, but even just taking 5 minutes to just close your eyes and take some breaths and just reconnect to yourself. Again, get yourself into maybe a calmer state. If you can do it at the beginning of the day and or end of the day, I think you'll find it will really serve you throughout your day to maybe have a little bit more patience. And maybe you just meditate on patience of just give me patience. And it might just be repeating that over and over. But it really can help set up your day or help you at the end of the day if you're feeling stressed.
And like we said earlier, if you're someone like I've got an extremely overactive mind, and even though I'm very spiritual, I go through phases where I find meditation very difficult. So you can weave it into one of the other practices we've talked about if you're that way, where you sit there and you become frustrated because, your mind's not clear enough, quickly enough, or whatever it might be. You can be meditating through your gratitude practice or your journaling. You can be meditating in that present moment while you're outside grounding, or while you're taking your water, or whatever it might be. We can weave those together so we can take that pressure off ourselves and get the full benefits of that meditation.
For sure. And that's what we talk about in the episode. Being in nature can be a meditation, listening to those animals, walking in nature. Just again, it means without any type of device playing where you're distracted. So that's kind of one of the key things. It's just having some quiet space with yourself.
Yeah.
Tell yourself, I love you. So this is a practice that comes through. It's so simple, but most of the time we do not do it. So I challenge everyone, if you can, put your hand on your heart and look at yourself in the mirror and just say, I love you, and your name. It's a practice that a community that I belong to that channels a lot of information from Archangel Raphael. Raphael is constantly encouraging that self-love. And they said the angelic realm has told us that we just don't love ourselves. And so telling ourselves, and especially if we can name it on a regular basis, is just really important. So literally just standing in front of the mirror with your hand on your heart and just telling yourself you love yourself can be really powerful and really nourishing for your body and yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's obvious hearing those words are so powerful, but the action of using your voice and your own vibration to deliver that medicine to yourself is very, very soothing, I think, and very beautiful.
Yeah. And even telling someone else that you love them too, because I think this day and age, people can feel weird. But what's so great and beautiful that I love about the younger generation is like I hear my daughters telling their friends at 12 and 20 that they love each other when they hang up the phone or hang up a FaceTime. It's so beautiful. And I
Mm.
love that they're able to express that a bit more openly than maybe mine and your generation. And so I've been working really hard on saying that, especially to friends, and letting people know that I love them and what they mean to me, because to me, that's still self-care. That's me speaking and using my voice and my truth. Like you said, speaking my truth, it is medicine. And so sharing that with people, I think is really important. So ourselves first and then others. So like, I love you, Natalie.
Oh, I love you too, Heather. That's
A
so
little love
beautiful.
test. So, and then it probably goes hand in hand with my next one of give someone your full presence and attention. And so this again might feel outward, like outwardly focused versus what we would think of self-care. But I promise what you will get back from a care perspective is so powerful when you give someone your full presence or attention. It can change everything. We're so distracted not having a phone, just even if it's a couple minutes, especially if you have young ones around you, could be nieces or nephews you're around, giving those kids that attention. Like you said, the medicine you will get when you allow yourself to do that. I mean, time spent with my 2-year-old nephew is so healing and recharging for me. And if I am distracted and on my phone, it takes it away. But when I allow myself to be present, it's like laughter, joy. I get all of this coming at me. And so if we can just, put ourselves in those spaces to be present and be childlike and enjoy whatever it is that we're doing for the moment, it's amazing how it can shift our perspective and help us.
While you were talking, it came to me that this is a wonderful, different kind of distraction. So, if we're having trouble giving things our full attention, I know I'm ADHD minded, so that's challenging for me. And it's really important, I think, to be aware. Perhaps this is another future episode just around the impacts our behaviors have on our own mindsets and brains. And so if we're choosing that distraction instead of choosing to be present, I don't think that's healthy for us. So it's a really great time, given that there's all these different distractions that we're not used to having, like different people from our family members and all the rest, more pets hanging around, more babies, whatever it might be, that these are fantastic different distractions that can actually help our health versus the usual distractions we default to that aren't so good for us.
For sure. I love that. And I'm glad you said pets, because I was going to say I did not mention pets, but absolutely giving your full attention to your furry friends, whatever, or pets. It could be a fish, so they don't have fur. But, spending that time, my son has a fish that basically I've adopted, Blackberry. You've heard my struggles. Natalie's been through this. I've been nursing him back to health from some mystery illness, but literally just going in and watching him swim for a couple minutes in his tank. I'll talk to him, and sometimes I'll put my hand on the tank and send him a little healing energy. And it's so soothing for me. And I feel like I get so much out of it. I don't know if he gets anything out of it, but I do. And I love it. And so, you might be around other animals. Maybe you don't have animals and you're able to soak that in during this time of year if you're visiting friends or family. So definitely time with your furry friends. And better yet, if you can take something for a walk, go outside with a pet, play, like again, find the joy, be present. Maybe you ground at the same time. You're like killing it with all these things all at once.
Oh, they can also really help you meditate. Perhaps not like a super energized puppy. They can definitely get your presence, but I think of my cat, and sometimes when I need calming down, he'll just sit on my lap, and 5 minutes with him, I feel so much calmer. Patting him, the purring, that beautiful vibrational energy. Yeah, it's definitely something I cherish.
Yeah. And you've sent me that purr medicine through voice notes, and I love it, and I can feel it. And it's so soothing. I love it. So let's see. Of course, sleeping, napping, resting, you do not need someone to give you permission to do it. Just do it. If you feel tired, just this time of year can really drain you. So rest. We are all allowed to rest without someone telling us. So, you can take a nap. It's not just for babies and toddlers. Take a nap, do it. Hug yourself, give yourself a hug. Maybe if you're giving yourself affirmations in the mirror, telling yourself you love yourself, hugging yourself. I've done it in quite a few things, and it feels weird at first, but then you give yourself a hug and you're like, oh, I needed that. So simple. Dance. So dancing to a song, move your body. Could be, just for a couple minutes to put on a song. Do it in the privacy of your room or wherever you might have space. just dance like they say, like nobody's watching, and just move your body, close your eyes, let your body feel into the music and see how it wants to move. I believe it's called ecstatic dance, right? Is that kind of being in tune with your body and just dancing? And it's, I've done it in some circles, and at first it feels a little weird because sometimes you're moving in ways not like you would think if you're out at a club or dancing at a wedding or something. It's really intuitive where you just let yourself feel into the music and how your body wants to sway and move. And it can be so nurturing, and also it can be energizing and give you a little bit of a pickup if you need it.
Yeah, it's really getting into the flow, isn't it? Letting your body flow and move.
Yep.
It's giving yourself permission.
Yep, for sure. And if you need extra rest, but you don't have a lot of time, find a yoga nidra, which can be really powerful. They say like a 15-minute yoga nidra is equivalent to like a 2-hour nap, I think.
Yeah. And if you don't know what yoga nidra is, it's a certain type of yoga. Yoga's more than just the asanas. And it is about rest, and it's kind of like a guided meditation that takes you deep into a restful state in your body. So you can find lots of different yoga nidras of different lengths on YouTube or on your meditation app or whatever it might be.
Yep. And I was really sick during a very busy trip to Disney 2 years ago, and yoga nidra saved me because I could barely function. And so in the middle of the day, I'd go back to the room and I would do a yoga nidra because I didn't have time, which I should have made more time, but I didn't want to miss out. And so I would do a yoga nidra, and it literally would get me through. It would let me get through to the end of the day with my family because I didn't want to miss the trip. But I mean, I would be like, I don't want to say on the verge of collapse. That's being dramatic, but I was exhausted, and I would do this like 15-minute yoga nidra when I use Insight Timer. And yeah, so rejuvenating. So definitely try it if you've never done it. You can write kind of along the lines of journaling, write yourself a love letter. I think it's a beautiful time of year to do that before we get into the new year or thinking about the new year. How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be? Or what are things that you're proud of? Thinking about the end of the year. What did you accomplish this year? And it doesn't have to be huge, major milestones like I saved X amount of dollars or bought a house or got a promotion. It could just be I took care of myself this year. I drank more water this year. I reconnected with some friends or found some community or found an exercise that I like to do or whatever it is. I started a gratitude practice. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can literally be something, small, but those small things every day add up to a really big difference in your life. So write a love letter. Other thing I put in here, because I experienced this recently, is this is probably more aimed at women, like blow out, get your makeup done, do a manicure. I was saying to Natalie before we started recording, I love doing manicures myself. I used to not. I'm not super great at it. So if you meet me, don't really look at my nails. I'm okay at it, but it feels like I accomplished something and like I'm caring for myself, painting my nails. So it feels really good to do that. But of course, if you can go to a salon, if you like to do that, I just don't a lot of times want to spend the time or the money because I don't know. I just don't. But recently I did have an event and I debated, I went back and forth if I was going to pay for my makeup. Natalie had to listen to me a little bit talk about this, and so did a couple of friends, and everyone was like, do it, treat yourself. And I'm so glad I did because I felt like a movie star. I got my hair done. I got my makeup done. I haven't done that probably since my sister's wedding. And there's a handful of times in my life that I've ever done that, but I felt so good and so just beautiful and worthy. And I have to say, as much as I didn't want to spend the money, it was worth every penny and more because what I got out of that for myself, it wasn't about anything else that anyone shared with me. It was that confidence and feeling like I took care of myself. And I felt really proud of myself for doing that. So it's not something I would do a lot. But if you have a big event coming up, a big party or something, and you want to, get your hair done or get it blown out or whatever it might be, or, get lashes done or something, do it. Life is short. And I think we all should, have the opportunity to feel that way. So, I mean, we all feel great when we get our hair done. I don't color my hair anymore, as most people can see, but, getting your hair done, it feels good.
Yeah. I don't want to encourage elaborate overconsumption here, but I don't want to say frugal. I'm just self-sustained with what I have. So I've been actually investing in some things that I need. So, if you're not into makeup and hair and all that kind of thing, it might be that like now's the time to get a really nice new jacket or a new pair of shoes or something that can also be a form of treating yourself, that something that will help you make your life better or help you achieve a goal or something like that. But I really do agree with you. I think finding ways to help you feel beautiful, and this goes for the men as well,
Yep.
however you might lock yourself off from feeling that way, finding those doors that you can open up and allowing yourself to feel beautiful or handsome or whatever that might be is really great. So it might be a new haircut, it might be new glasses, whatever it might be, go for it.
They have those shaving places, right? That you can go in and like
Yeah.
get a shave. And I've
Yeah.
heard, that men will say it just feels like you were kind of cared for, like someone else shaving
Yeah.
and like
Someone
that
touching you,
experience. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And like you bought yourself a bike, right? This year for
Yeah. I got a
like a beautiful
bike.
gift.
My feet have been hurting because I'm getting old now. So I'm like, I'm going to invest in a few different pairs of sneakers just so I'm like, I feel comfortable and I feel
Yep.
good when I'm out walking and riding and all of those things. Yeah. It might be a new bathing suit.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you. And again, thank you for that perspective. All right, we're almost done. So light a beautiful candle, anoint yourself with oil. If you listen to the episode that I did with Connie recently, she talks about anointing with an oil, not a big practice, not a big lengthy practice. It's literally just, again, being intentional with what you're doing. And if that's an essential oil that you have or some kind of blend and you want to just put it on and breathe it in, it can just feel luxurious. And it takes a minute, less than a minute. So
And scent can be such a good anchor for those self-love practices, whether it's the moment where you tell yourself you love yourself or acknowledge your own beauty or something like that, because it's instant. You don't need to do a 5-minute practice to get there. You can smell the smell, and the smell of rose equals your self-love for you, for instance, or whatever you decide it to be. So scent's very powerful and works very quickly.
Yep, so true. And then one thing I skipped over, but kind of along the same lines, is some kind of mirror affirmation. So outside of telling yourself you love yourself, if you write something that you just want to share and say to yourself every day, I have some while I brush my teeth, I say them. So they call it like habit stacking, that you're doing multiple things at once. But for me, as soon as I start brushing my teeth, it's such a ritual that I look at myself in the mirror, I tell myself certain things. And I make myself smile at myself, even if I'm not feeling great. And it just changes my energy. I also high five myself, which is like a Mel Robbins thing. So she has like the high five habit. She wrote a whole book on it, but literally just high fiving yourself, it feels weird sometimes where I'm like, is this really cheesy? But I always tell myself, I'm like, we got this. And that's how I start my day. And I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Something else we can do, which I do a lot, is write them down like on sticky notes, or it might be on a whiteboard or notes on
like
the fridge.
The marker, the mirror, people do it all up. We see people all the time on social media, like the markers. And I don't know what ones can write on mirrors. So don't ruin your mirror. Probably like some kind of dry erase or something. But yeah,
you
writing
could be
them
one
down.
of those like creepy stalkers with your lipstick or something. No, I just use sticky notes, but often I put them on my computer because that's usually a time where I might be sitting and getting a bit frustrated by the work that I'm doing. And I have some nice affirmations that, even if I'm not focused on them, are reaching me subliminally. So that can work really well in addition to whatever you're speaking to yourself out loud. Having those subliminal messages come in, being in control of those and making them really positive is a powerful thing to do as well.
Oh, I love it. Let's see. I think any kind of exercise, of course, and it doesn't have to be long. It could be 10 minutes, like do some yoga poses, stretching. Stretching is amazing for your body, especially if you're tired. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do a workout today, but I'm just going to stretch. And it feels so luxurious if you can like foam roll, if you have a foam roller or a ball, like a tennis ball that you can roll on or roll your feet on while you're sitting at your desk or something. It feels like you're giving yourself a little massage. It's so great.
Yeah, I've been leaning into stretching a lot lately because I've been doing a fair bit of computer work and it's tough on the body. And so that might be a lot of driving that you're doing this time of year, for instance, where it's a lot of sitting.
Travel, planes.
Yeah, planes, whatever it might be. Feeling into where your body needs a bit of love, because part of stretching is also the awareness and the intention of like wanting to support that particular one spot in your body. So that's really healing as well. So lean into what feels sore, and the stretching can even be intuitive. It might be that you need to shake stuff or your legs need to kick out some energy. There's lots of ways to do it.
Yep, for sure. You can listen to frequency in the background or before bed to calm your nervous system. It can help you cleanse your energy, it can rebalance your chakras. You can find things, again, for free on YouTube. Just see what resonates with you because there's a lot of content and it can feel overwhelming. So just see what resonates with you, put it on. If it's like, oh, nails on a chalkboard, like probably not it, go to the next one. And there's ones that you can play like overnight that are a couple of hours, or you can just lay down and take a nap and put it on the background quietly. But those frequencies, those energy, which we did the sound healing episode, can be really powerful to help change your energy and help you recover, heal if you get sick. So many people get sick this time of year because of stress. So it can be really, really helpful. And I think my last one is boundaries. I think boundaries are a massive self-care practice. And this time of year, we need to have them. And one of them is going to be saying no, because you'll get asked to go to maybe events, parties, do this thing, do that thing. Maybe it's have alcohol and you don't normally drink and you feel pressure being out. I know I haven't drank for a couple of years. So whatever it is, saying no. My favorite OG Peloton instructor, Robin, will say no is a complete sentence. I love that. It's just no. It's a no. So if it's not a like, hell yes, I'm excited to do this, it's probably a no. So just say no. And I know sometimes we feel there are certain obligations with family activities or maybe kids or pets or whatever it might be that you have to go to that you feel like you can't have that boundary. Then practice having those boundaries elsewhere and trying to protect your peace and your time, because you're valuable, that you deserve to have time and peace and, whatever you need in your life. So having those boundaries, I think, is one of the most important acts of self-care we can give ourselves. So practice, practice, practice. And it won't make it perfect, but you'll get better at it. And I know for me, I've gotten really good with boundaries. And it's, again, it can be really life-changing and life-giving because it gives me time back to do things that I want to spend my time on that fill me up and don't drain me.
I think that's really powerful. And I also want to throw in there boundaries with work as well. Some people have work that puts a lot of pressure on them over the holidays. It doesn't respect their boundaries. I'm really lucky. I'm in Australia and we have like really good work-life balance here, but I know that's not the case for everyone in every place. And so, no is a full sentence. Applies to work as well. So making sure you're honoring yourself by protecting your holidays basically and your time off, I think that's powerful too.
I am saying this to hold myself accountable. When you put your out of office on and you are not working and it says, I will not be responding to email, do not respond to email. Try really hard not to respond. And for those who are people leaders or in charge of someone, you have people underneath you, try to set that example, because people who are under you will feel if you are responding to things and it says you're out and you're off the grid and you start responding, then they feel like they have to respond and they can't have that boundary. And so I love that I wish we were all like Australia and that we could take that time, but, put on the out of office, really try to give that presence to your whoever it is that you're with. And maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's just doing some of these self-care practices and not responding to emails or work calls or whatever it is. And just try to protect that space, even if it's just you can only do a day or whatever. Give yourself that full presence for the day. And so important.
Yeah.
Really important. All right. Well, I think we covered a really big list. I hope there was something that resonated as you're listening to this that you thought, okay, that's a new idea, or maybe it's a different perspective. I know already Natalie gave me perspective and I, thinking through this list, just different ways to think about how we can care for ourselves during this time of year, but any time of year. If you're listening to this, 2 years from now, it's in the middle of summer, it still applies. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode and would love, again, to hear from you, our listeners, to know if there's other things that you do for self-care. Please reach out to us, because I think the more we can add to this list, there's so many things that we barely scratch the surface. So we would love to hear from you. So please share. And if you are called and you do some of these practices, maybe you're outside grounding in the snow somewhere with your feet on the ground and drinking your solar water and outside with your pet, send us a picture. We would love to see it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But thank you for listening and wishing you lots of peace and joy no matter what time of year it is, but especially as we get close to the holidays and end of year, take some time for yourself. Remember, you deserve it. You're so loved, and we all deserve to have the life that we want. And so this can be a good stepping stone to creating that for ourselves. So thank you. Thank you, Natalie, for everything you shared.
Thank you, Heather. You brought an amazing list, and I'm sure everyone's going to be able to take at least one thing away from all of the tips you shared.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. Until next time, we love you.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your precious day to listen to our podcast. If this episode resonated with you, we would love for you to share it with someone you love. That would mean the world to us. Also, if you feel called, please follow our show so you will know when a new episode drops. If you want to go one step further, you can even rate this episode, as it allows our podcast to find its way to others. Lastly, we've done our best to share resources that you might find helpful in the show notes, whether that's a book recommendation or a website we referenced during the episode, a free resource, or more information on a guest who took their time to speak with us and share their knowledge. We would love for you to support their work too. You can find more information on our podcast website at becomingspiritual.me. We love you and can't wait for you to hear the next episode. Until then, know you have a place where you are welcome and you are loved. Welcome home.